Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe Jai Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Gaura Pimanandi Jai Mishupad Paramahamsa Pri Bhratika Chacha Stotra Satta Sri Samad His Divine Grace Chila Boy Charan Narvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON DBT Founder Charya Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Janitai Gaura Pimanande All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sharakayam Chakshurindilitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta praya sabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naisiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttamasloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all successful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning Bhagavatam class, continuing in the fourth canto, first canto, fourth chapter, and today's text number 8. Let's see here. I think 7. We read 7? Huh? We did not read 7 yesterday. I mean, somebody might have read it on their own, but... Not 7, huh? Confirmed. Okay. Yes. Katham va pandaveyasya rajarsher munina saha samvadah samabhut tata yatraisha satvati srutihi Katham va pandave yasya rajarshera munina saha samvada samabhuttat yatraisha satvati srutihi katham va pandave yasya rajarshera munina saha samvada samabhuttat yatraisha satvati srutihi katham va pandave yasya rajarshera munina saha samvada samabhuttat yatraisha satvati srutihi katham va pandave yasya rajarshera munina saha samvada samabhuttat yatraisha satvati srutihi katham va pandave yasya rajarshera munina saha samvada samabhuttat
Katham va pandave yasya rajarsher munina saha samvadak samabhutata yatraisha satvati shruti Katham va pandave yasya rajarshe munina saha samvada sambhutata yatresha satvati srutihi
katham how is it va also pandave yasya of the descendant of Pandu Parikshit Rajarshehe of the king who was a sage Munina with the Muni Saha with Samvada discussion Samabhut took place Tata oh darling Yatra whereupon Esha like this Satvati transcendental,
transcendental,
Srutihi,
Shruti,
essence of the Vedas.
essence of the Vedas.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. How did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas, Bhagavatam, to be sung to him? Kind of repeat after me. How did it so happen
How did it so happen
that King Parikshit
that King Parikshit
met this great sage,
met this great sage,
making it possible
making it possible
for this transcendental essence,
for this transcendental essence,
for this great transcendental essence
for this great transcendental essence
of the Vedas,
of the Vedas,
Bhagavatam,
Bhagavatam,
to be sung to him?
to be sung to him.
A purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is stated here as the essence of the Vedas. It is not an imaginary story, as it is sometimes considered by unauthorized men. It is also called Shuka Samhita, or the Vedic hymn spoken by Sri Shukadeva Goswami, the great liberated sage. How did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas, Bhagavatam, to be sung by him? So Prabhupada translates here, Bhagavatam is meant to be sung, which is what we do. We sing the Bhagavatam. I mean, we chant the Bhagavatam, including the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is translated as the song of the Lord, the song of the Lord, because transcendental subject matters are meant to be spoken in a melodious way. It is also described how in the spiritual world, every word is a song and every step is a dance. Everything is very joyful up there. Yeah. And so this is the question being asked by Shonaka Rishi, how this Bhagavatam was spoken, which is being described here as the great transcendental essence of the Vedas. And actually in the text itself, it's referring to Shruti. So we know there's Shruti and Smriti. What is the difference between Shruti and Smriti?
Shruti, that means sunke.
Huh?
Shruti, that means to listen.
Shruti means?
To listen. By the
To listen. Shruti means to listen.
And Smriti, that means by remembering.
We don't listen to Smriti.
Shruti means that means to listen, by listening.
Shruti means by listening. Yeah. And Smriti?
That means by remembering.
By remembering. Any other difference?
Writing.
Writing. Which one is written?
Shruti we are hearing.
Shruti we're hearing. Smriti we're writing. We cannot write Shruti.
We can do.
Нацтемки были поведаны через слух, а смрити их поведаны через запись изначально.
First, when it was telling, like we hear it, it's like a Shruti, first one.
First one, Shruti, hearing.
Брама,
Like
Лорд Брама.
Lord Brahma, he was hearing.
Okay.
And the same thing, but writing. Like the first who was creating the shastras, he just told him.
You're just translating. Yes, of course, Shruti. Any Sanskrit scholars here? Okay, but we know Shruti means to hear. Srinvatam Sokata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Shruti. And yes, Smriti also means to remember. There's another major difference. Shruti, we were discussing, I think in one of the classes, Shruti is referred to as what type of vidya?
Паравидя.
Shruti is a paravidya.
Нет, Шрути Паравидя, Смрити Апаравидя.
Ah, yeah. Shruti means paravidya. And Smriti means aparavidya. So what's the difference between paravidya and apara? What is the difference between para and apara? Just like in Bhagavad Gita, we have para prakriti, apara prakriti. What's the difference between para prakriti and apara prakriti? Para prakriti refers to the living entity, jiva. And what is the nature of the jiva? Consciousness. So para prakriti means higher than apara prakriti. Apara prakriti means nature, matter, spirit, matter. So in Shastra, Shruti is what is spoken directly to Lord Brahma at the beginning of every creation, yeah. So it is transcendental knowledge. Whereas Smriti is dealing with material subject matters. Because we're living here in the material world, how to function within this material world. And Smriti is what is spoken by great sages. Because knowledge actually is revealed. Knowledge is both transmitted by the Supreme Lord at the time of creation, and also after the creation, knowledge at different time becomes revealed. Actually, both spiritual knowledge and also material, just like different types of knowledge get lost and sometimes remain lost for many centuries. And then some great personality, maybe some incarnation of the Lord, appears and he again reveals. Because knowledge, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Chit means knowledge, and knowledge is actually eternal, but it's sometimes available, sometimes not available. So here Bhagavatam is described as the essence of the Vedic knowledge. So Veda means this combination of Shruti and Smriti. Yeah. So we'll read a few more verses here. Text number 8, we can all repeat also. Sago dohana matram hi griheshu griha medhinam avikshate mahabhagas tirthi kurvam tad asramam. Translation and purport. He, Shukadeva Goswami, is accustomed to stay at the door of a householder only long enough for a cow to be milked. And he did this just to sanctify the residence. Purport. Shukadeva Goswami met Emperor Parikshit and explained the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was not accustomed to stay at any householder's residence for more than half an hour at the time of milking the cow. And he would just take alms from the fortunate householder. That was to sanctify the residence by his auspicious presence. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami is an ideal preacher established in the transcendental position. From his activities, those who are in the renounced order of life and dedicated to the mission of preaching the message of Godhead should learn that they have no business with householders save and except to enlighten them in transcendental knowledge. Such asking for alms from the householder should be for the purpose of sanctifying his home. One who is in the renounced order of life should not be allured by the glamour of the householder's worldly possessions and thus become subservient to worldly men. For one who is in the transcendental, or rather, for one who is in the renounced order of life, this is much more dangerous than drinking poison and committing suicide. God. So beware brahmacharis and sannyasis. This is not only applicable for sannyasis, although the text is referring to those in the renounced order of life, but especially dangerous for people who are in big cities like Mumbai and Delhi, and as brahmacharis doing life membership and meeting all kinds of very important people, visiting their homes, and being nicely received on a nice sitting place, not asana, cushion and whatnot. Yeah, so very exemplary behavior being explained here of this personality, Shukadeva Goswami, who would only stay long enough in the morning, usually in the morning. The cows are milked, and he would. That was his madhukari. This was also demonstrated, of course, by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his refusing to meet with Prataparudra, Maharaj Prataparudra. Although Maharaj Prataparudra was was a devotee, he was very very advanced, was very much appreciating the devotees. It is nicely described that when the first year after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Jagannath Puri, the first year that the devotees came, the devotees started like a 20-year jagya every year before Rath Yatra. Hundreds of devotees, I think it mentions 300-400 devotees, possibly more. They would travel to Jagannath Puri walking. And the first time that they arrived, that first year, from a distance, the kirtan could be heard. And when you have a large group of people moving, you can see from a distance and hear. And from the balcony, some of the devotees were explaining to King Prataparudra that these are the very unusual followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to Jagannath Puri for Rath Yatra festival. And King Prataparudra had never seen before such type of enthusiastic and ecstatic devotees performing kirtan. So anyways, he naturally developed a very intense, very strong desire to meet with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's a whole leela that took place over a certain period of time. In those days especially, somewhat different nowadays. It's like we as devotees, Prabhupada also met with great personalities. But 500 years ago, it was like, to show by example, to set example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused actually to meet, although the devotees again and again were requesting him, knowing that King Prataparudra was actually a very great devotee himself. Eventually, Lord Chaitanya, how did he concede, or how did he eventually, as we say, not exactly fully giving in? Giving in means agreeing. In which way did Lord Chaitanya agree to reciprocate with King Prataparudra? Two ways actually that comes to my mind. The first and then the second. Everyone remembers that story? Actually, the devotees were very, devotees can be very insisting because they have strong belief, strong conviction, and so the devotees were again and again reminding and requesting and praying and pleading the Lord Chaitanya, please meet King Prataparudra. He's such a great devotee. He just wants to get your mercy. And Mahaprabhu every time was saying no. So one time he said, if you bring this topic up again, I'm leaving Puri. I'm leaving all of you. So from that day, everyone kept quiet. Naturally, they didn't want Lord Chaitanya to leave. And then what happened?
Son.
He met his son.
No, before meeting his son.
He was dressed like a mendicant.
He was who was a mendicant? Oh no, that's later. Before that, Lord Chaitanya agreed to send some cloth, some piece of cloth, to kind of like. And then after some time, I believe it's when Ramananda Roy, whom Lord Chaitanya had met on his tour to South India, and had requested Ramananda Roy, please come to Jagannath Puri, leave your service and just live with me, which he had done. So when he came, Ramananda Roy then the devotees, knowing that there was a very close relationship between the two, they requested Ramananda Roy, please, can you ask on our behalf? So Lord Chaitanya, his heart, yeah, softened. Of course, Lord Chaitanya's heart is always soft. And then he didn't agree to directly meet with King Prataparudra. He told the devotee, send his son, because meeting the son is like meeting the father. Son is like the representative of the father. And then what happened when he met the son? Yeah. Like the son was a young boy, very nicely dressed in Vaishnav attire. Huh?
Like Krishna.
Yeah. With nice tilak, and Lord Chaitanya was reminded of Krishna, and out of ecstasy, actually embraced the young boy, who kind of like, hey, what happened? he became completely overwhelmed, and this took place like in the assembly of so many exalted associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who because of their advancement in Krishna consciousness understood the various symptoms of ecstasy. And this young boy, who was just like, in many ways, ordinary boy, manifested or displayed all of the symptoms of ecstasy. And it's like, what is that category? Kripa Siddha. Out of Kripa, by special mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, could experience, you could, practically speaking, immediate love of Godhead. Yeah. So, Lord Chaitanya, similar to what is being described here, Shukadeva Goswami, being in a renounced order of life, was very cautious to spend more time than necessary with. It's not that every householder is engaged in activities of sense gratification, but generally householders have some basic facility. Very often they might have some nice facility, let's say compared to someone who's a mendicant and doesn't have a home, doesn't have a house. So that is a standing order, we could say, or practice, that those who are mendicants in the renounced order of life should avoid or should be cautious when visiting residences of householders, and of course for preaching purposes within our ISKCON society. Those, for example, definitely those who are engaged in preaching in the big cities, they have to have very nice dress, brahmacharis. They iron, their clothes. Sometimes we see, you might have seen some old pictures of Srila Prabhupada, and his dhoti is very wrinkled. Prabhupada was kind of, other times his his dhoti and dress is like we say paka. Yeah. So this is a warning to renounced order of life is not only sannyasis, it also brahmacharis. Anyone wearing saffron color should be should be cautious in associating with householders. Well, yeah. Any thoughts on this? Yes.
Почему в стихичном Бхагаватам говорится грехометрием? Не, например, то есть домохозяева, почему не говорится грехасты и грехометры, например? Или грехасты, если говорится именно грехометры?
In that verse it is said grihametria.
In the verse,
Yes, it is said in the 8th verse. It is said grihametria.
Griham.
Yeah, why it is said grihametria? Grihametrinam.
oh,
Why not grihaska?
And грехасты and грехометры. Only грехометры.
well, actually,
Грехас не нужно освещать.
His question is like there are no need to how it calls purify the grihaskas or something like that. I mean, when great sages visiting grihaskas, there are,
Only Grihamet, why not Grihastha?
yeah, why only visiting grihamethinam? Why were like he not visited grihaskas?
Did mention in this verse.
well, actually, in the purport, it mentions specifically that the sadhu, one in the renounced order of life, he visits householders, and specifically here it does mention grihamedinam, which is different from grihastha, to purify their home and to give them an opportunity to transit from grihamedi to grihastha. Generally, householders who are not devotees automatically fall in the category of grihamedi, isn't it? So grihamedi are those who are too attached to ultimately to sense gratification, and who have not taken up, devotional service. They're grihamedi. Prabhupada gives a nice explanation of grihamedi in the Bhagavatam. Anyone from a farming background here? Agriculture? Cows? Okay. So here's a question for you. What is, Prabhupada explains the word medi. What is medi? Griha we know is house, and medi? Again, we're lacking Sanskrit scholars here. Medi, Prabhupada explains, when, huh? Space? Hindi bolo.
जो सब जो गृह में पालने वाले जो जीव होता है जानवर
Animals.
Pet, medi.
Domestic animals.
Well, Prabhupada, when he was explaining medi, sometimes the same word means different things. He was telling that just like after the harvest, after cutting the paddy, what they will do, they will let it dry, and then they will husk to take out the grains. So the traditional system of husking, they will take one stick, pole. No, that's one way. One way is by hitting like this. The other way is by having the oxen walk around, and by their feet they will break the husk. They will the paddy. We don't see that very often. You've seen that? Huh? Yeah, they just walk around.
Cattle are tied.
Yeah, they're tied.
हाँ हम लोग ये मतलब ये मतलब
That pole, the one or two oxen are tied to that pole, and they just walk around. They just walk around. They walk on the paddy. That's one way. The other way is going like this. So this pole is called Medi. This Prabhupada explained. This pole is called Medi, and this pole in householder life. Listen carefully. Very important point. For both those who are householders and those who are thinking about becoming householders. So Prabhupada explains Medi actually represents sex life, because in householder life, those who are not devotees, they're just focused on sex life. The main attraction in household in Grihamedi life is sense gratification, which culminates in sex life, or which is the strongest attraction. Yeah, and that's why it is very difficult to give up family life, because unless one gives up sex life, one cannot give up family life. And sex life, of course, is not only gross, it is both gross and subtle, right? Um, so even one who is not married may be engaged in sex life without realizing it. Subtle, which is, as explained by our acharyas, fame and prestige and seeking recognition, these are all symptoms or expressions of subtle sex life. So, yeah, Grihamedi, yes. Grihamedi means those persons especially. So Shukadeva Goswami would visit those residences. And so this whole point that Prabhupada is also making in the purport, that a devotee, when he goes, we say begging, is for the benefit of the householder. Giving in charity is for the benefit of those who actually give. They benefit by engaging their resources in the service of the Lord. Yeah. But ordinary people see beggars as useless people who don't have anything to do and who can't make a livelihood, and they just go around begging. Probably some do. Yeah. Okay, anything else here? Yes.
Вы сказали про то, что должны бояться и брамачари в городе, бояться. Ну, с одной стороны. Но с другой стороны, мы должны стать бесстрашными, как Абхай. Вот. И вот этот интересный момент, можете пояснить подробнее момент бесстрашия и боязни? Правильно.
You mentioned that that who are renunciant of life, like brahmacharis in the cities,
Брамачари грехастхас, даже как брамачари грехастхас.
or brahmachari grihasthas, they should be very careful and avoid all that prestige and etc. And how to become fearless.
Fearless.
Yes. And live in the city and preach.
How to become fearless.
Yes. When you're like a brahmachari or sannyasi.
You be
One
one becomes
city, in village, что в городах, в деревне, не только в городах.
Also in the village.
Huh?
Also in the village.
well, whether it's in the village or in the city, one becomes fearless either by becoming a qualified brahmachari or by becoming a qualified grihastha brahmachari or by becoming a qualified sannyasi. Means, what is the common denominator? The common denominator is to be renounced. Krishna speaks about sannyas yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone, regardless of one's ashram, we are meant to become detached, isn't it, from this material world, detached from sense gratification. And that is only possible if we develop Krishna consciousness. If we develop attachment for Krishna, then only then we can become detached from Maya, isn't it? So, how to become fearless is by taking full, complete shelter of Krishna. Those who are fully under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhajahuri mana Sri Nandanandana Abhaya Saranara Vindare Abhaya, fearless. So we become fearless by taking fully the shelter of the Daivi Prakriti, Krishna's internal energy. That means we become fearless and undisturbed by the material conditions when we are fully, completely absorbed in Krishna conscious activities. So that means that we have always something to do in Krishna consciousness. An idle mind is a devil's workshop. So that's why in the world today there are so many idle minds. So many unemployed people. Unemployment is very bad for society, and we have to be careful also as devotees. We may also find ourselves sometimes unemployed in the sense of unengaged. For a devotee, unemployed means unengaged. So if we are not properly engaged, our mind will wander. By being properly, Prabhupada told us, our program, Prabhupada gave that, actually one devotee who was he was a sannyasi, and he had a group of devotees. They were very active in collecting funds for Prabhupada. Prabhupada actually had told him one time that actually my disciples don't want to give me money. So he had taken a vow that I'll give you all the money you need, and he did that actually. And he had a special program, really heavy program of engaging. He himself and devotees, they would be collecting huge amounts of money. So one time he was meeting with Srila Prabhupada, I think in Vrindavan, and explaining to Prabhupada, he was feeling kind of like, yeah, our group, and they were, sometimes you become a little proud of something you do. So Prabhupada could sense that, he was a little bit like this, that, our devotees are working very hard. So he told Prabhupada, our devotees are working 18 hours a day. All day and late in the evening, 18 hours. Prabhupada was hearing him and then just keeping his head high. And then Prabhupada just said, our program is 24 hours a day. Yes. Yes. So being engaged is very, very, it's always better to have more things to do than less things to do. Otherwise, Maya will, if we're not engaged in seva, Krishna seva, then Maya will engage us in her seva. Okay, we can close for now. Jai Krantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Pimanandi.